Revenge films.
My name is Natalie. 3 years ago, at the time, I was in my first year as a working adult at 18 years old. At the time, the guy that I was dating was a student named Michael, and he was 22 years old. Michael was very controlling. He always kept me beneath him and had a really firm grip around everything that I did. But at the time, I was stupid. I mistook his actions as love, and I thought that that's how much he loved me. The job I had worked in shifts, and normally I would be working till about 9 o'clock at night. As soon as I finished work and left the office, I would call Michael. I'm heading over there now. But if it would take me longer than an hour to get to his place, he would yell at me. And Michael knew my entire shift schedule for the week, so if I worked any overtime and was late to get to his place, he would complain a lot and lecture me.
Why are you working overtime? Do you not love me? Don't you want to spend time with your boyfriend?
Of course I love you, but ever since I started working at this company, because of my work, sometimes I have to work overtime.
That doesn't make any sense. If you had any feelings for me or how I felt, you would leave that behind and come straight to me as soon as your shift was over.
But if I were to do that and not complete my work, it would cause too much trouble for my colleagues. I could lose my job. I can't do that. Even though I would try to explain it to him, he would always be in a terrible mood, and it was a handful to try and get back on his good side. But I always thought that all of his words and actions were simply a gesture of his love. And so days like this continued, and we had been dating for about 6 months when the incident occurred. On that day after work, we had a dinner party planned that was mandatory attendance from all of the employees. Even though I had explained that situation to him before, even on the day of, Michael refused to let me go and was against my attendance. Even that morning when I was on my way to work, he told me,
"Don't go!"
And I was really troubled by what to do. However, it was my first year at that company, and I knew how important it was to maintain a good relationship at work. So I brushed off what he said, and I attended the dinner. In return, I promised him that I would come home as soon as I possibly could to his place. That evening, throughout the entire dinner party, my phone was constantly going off. He kept sending me messages that said,
"Hurry up and come home!"
And they didn't stop. The dinner lasted about 2 hours, but as soon as it was over, I jumped into a taxi to go to his place and I called him. "I'm heading over there now. I am sorry that it's this late." I knew that he was going to be in a bad mood, so I started off by immediately apologizing. But then, to my surprise, he said,
"That was a work dinner, so you didn't have a choice. It's okay. You should just go home for today and relax."
He replied to me so nicely that I was confused. But I was relieved that he wasn't in a bad mood, and so I replied, "Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow." And I hung up the phone. But then, immediately after I hung up, I thought back to everything that he had said and done to me until then, and something didn't feel right. I knew that something was off, so I decided to continue in my taxi towards his place. I think it was my female instincts that kicked in. When I arrived at his apartment, even though his car was parked in the driveway, the lights to his apartment were off. It was too early for him to be asleep, so I crept into the apartment building. I tried not to make any noises as I walked up the stairs, and when I got to his apartment, I put my ear to the door. Even though this is a time that I know he was normally awake, it was so quiet that it was even more suspicious. He had given me a spare key to his apartment, so I pulled that out of my bag and I quietly opened the door. I very carefully made my way into the apartment, and when I got to his bedroom, even though the lights in the apartment were off, right next to the bed, there was a lamp that was left on. And due to that light, I could very clearly see him fast asleep in bed with a woman I had never seen before. No matter how you looked at it, it was completely obvious that the two of them had just done the deed and were exhausted and had fallen asleep, because they were both butt naked and their clothes were on the floor. First, I decided to go and try to wake him up, but he must have been so sleepy that he wasn't thinking straight, and he said,
"Huh? Oh, Natalie, welcome home."
He said to me nonchalantly. At that point, my anger had already passed its limit, and I exploded. I started to attack him. "Oh, hello, Michael. So why don't you tell me? Who is that person that's sleeping right next to you?" When I said that, he must have immediately grasped the situation because he panicked and woke up. He started screaming. "What are you doing? Who is this woman? What is going on here?"
No, it's not what it looks like.
"What's not what it looks like? You're obviously cheating on me." At this point, I had raised my voice and was yelling. And that was when the woman woke up, but the only noise that came out of her was, I then demanded my boyfriend not move from his spot, and I dragged the woman out of the bed. "Oh, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Natalie, and who the hell are you?" We go to the same college." "And did you know that Michael had a girlfriend?" "No, I didn't know." "You liar. Look at all these photos that are all around his apartment and all of the stuffed animals and cute little presents that I got him. There is obviously no way that you didn't know. Or are your eyes just empty holes in that empty head of yours?" I grabbed the stuffed animals that I could find and I started throwing them at the woman and yelling at her. But then Michael jumped out of bed.
Natalie, calm down.
He then grabbed my arm, and just as I was about to try to push him off of me, the woman started to run away. But there was no way that I was going to let her get away, so I shoved Michael off me and I immediately went and chased after her. I was able to catch up to her on the stairs, so I grabbed her and yelled once again. "Where the hell do you think you're going? Do you think you can run away? I'm not finished talking to you, so you better come right back to finish this conversation." But this time, the woman decided to fight back. "This is your own fault for getting cheated on. Michael said himself that he prefers me over you anyway, so I didn't do anything wrong." When she said that, I was so furious that I raised my hand and I slapped her across the face with all of my strength. Then I grabbed her by the hair and said, "Are you kidding me? That is enough. You're the one who slept with somebody else's boyfriend. Who do you think you are?" When I yelled at her, the woman started to try to fight back. Her fist then came flying towards my face. But I raised my hand once again and I slapped her even harder than I did the last time. And this time she started to cry and went running down the staircase, still completely naked. After that, I went back to Michael's apartment. When I got there, he was sitting on his knees, shaking from head to toe. "After you were so controlling of me and my every move, this is the result? Is this a joke? Are you kidding me?"
I'm so sorry. Something got into me and...
Excuse me? Do you seriously think that you're going to be forgiven if you say words like that? Do you have any idea how much of your controlling, narcissistic behavior I have tolerated? Even today, I had to convince my boss to let me leave early instead of going with everybody after dinner, and yet this is what you were doing?
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I swear I won't ever do it again, so please forgive me.
And after that, no matter what I said to him, all he could do was apologize and keep apologizing to me, and it wasn't a conversation. I was starting to lose my patience when suddenly the doorbell rang and one of his friends walked in through the door. As it turns out, he was also friends with that girl earlier and knew about their situation. Because she ran out of here without her clothes and any of her belongings and had left it in Michael's apartment, apparently she had asked this friend to go and collect them for her. Next to the bed, I saw a purse lying there, so I asked my boyfriend if that was it. He nodded his head, so I picked up the bag and I walked over to the balcony. I threw it straight off the ledge. Both Michael and the friend were stunned. "Oh, I'm so sorry. My hands must have slipped." And then I closed the door. To tell the truth, I had been playing sweet in front of my boyfriend for all this time, but with this incident of him cheating on me, my true nature came out. As soon as his friend was gone, my boyfriend sat there in silence. But some short time after that, he very quietly said under his breath that he didn't want to break up. I didn't respond and stayed quiet, but then Michael started talking about why he cheated on me. His excuse was that I was always working, and he was sad and lonely. And because he's a student, he had a lot of time alone and missed me. And that this was the first time he had ever cheated on me, and it was because he got too drunk and got carried away by the woman, and that he wanted me to forgive him. That's what he said to me, but I had already had enough, and I was ready to break up with him. Even if you were lonely, this is the only way you could deal with it? You really think that I'm going to forgive you just because you apologized to me?
I don't wanna break up. You have to forgive me, Natalie.
Listen, you keep saying that you were sad and lonely, but today, you very much had the option between me and that girl. You knew exactly what my plans were, and you would have been able to see me in just a few hours, but instead, you chose that girl. Not only that, but you went all the way with her. That says it all, doesn't it? So can you please stop acting like you're the victim, like I should feel any bit sorry for you?
Come on, please don't say that, Natalie.
Michael tried to come closer to me, so I slapped him across the face. Don't ever contact me again. Don't show your face around me ever again either. Those are my last words, and I threw the spare key at him and stormed out of his room. Of course, I immediately broke up with him. After that, I heard a rumor about that girl, the girl that ran away from me butt naked and was reported by a resident in the area that a suspicious woman was running around naked, and she was arrested. And then she called that friend and asked him to go and get her belongings from Michael's house, and he had to go and deliver it to her at the police station. Apparently, she tried to explain the situation to the police and tried to get me arrested, but she's the one that was having an affair with my boyfriend, and she was the one that decided to run away from me naked. All I did to her was slap her once or twice across the face. The police sighed, telling her that she probably deserved it after sleeping with my boyfriend, and that was the end of that. As for Michael, he contacted me multiple times that he wanted to start over with me, but I denied all of them. And, well, because I was already working, I was buying him gifts and taking him out for meals, and he was having a great time with my wallet, but there's no way I want to be with a cheating guy. After that, within 1 year, one of my colleagues at work asked me out, and we started dating. 3 years after that, he proposed, and of course I said yes. He's not controlling of me, and he's the person that doesn't even put the C in cheating. I later heard a rumor that my ex-boyfriend was two-timing some girls again, and that one of the girls was actually married, and he was sued for a really high settlement fee. But he did all this to himself. I'm just glad that I broke up with him back then.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.